Do you think UFOs, the paranormal, weird history, cryptozoology, and outsider art are pretty darn cool? Then you're in the right place. Welcome to High Strangeness with your host, Steve Berg.
The video version. Well, hello, my friends. Welcome back to another episode of High Strangeness. Boy, that was a new one. I have never gone high then low. Folks, today I have on my new buddies, Christina Rappel and Franky Everleigh. Friends, how are you doing?
Wonderful. Thank you. How are you?
Yeah, we're doing good.
I'm solid. Personally, my little micro world is wonderful. I have 2 cats, a lovely wife, and it's starting to become spring out there. On the macro level, I'm just terrified of the world. Just kidding.
Yeah.
But
The horrors.
Yeah, one of my coworkers said to answer that question, she was like, everything that is within my control is great. And I went, I'm going to use that. And then I realized, that's almost nothing.
Yeah, I'm basically like in control of like what I'm having for dinner for now. I'm that may only be temporary.
Yeah.
I maybe felt like some a government gruel pretty soon. I kid, or am I? But this is so fun. You guys have this incredible festival coming up in June, so I wanted to have you on to promote that. And you guys also have some wonderful stories from your local-ish area of the strange and unusual. So, Franky, Christina, let's do a little get to know you, if you don't mind. Who would like to go first? Who's
I'll
brave?
jump in.
All right, Christina.
Yeah.
She's way more interesting anyway.
Oh, look at you!
Not true.
Look at you, Franky.
Oh, stop being nice. What?
Stop being nice. I don't even recognize you anymore.
Who is this? I don't. Yeah.
Who's this kind-hearted person all of a sudden?
I'm trying to sell tickets.
I love it. Christina, what's going on here? Were you born and raised in Wisconsin?
I was born and raised in Appleton, Wisconsin. So if you can't tell by my accent.
I don't hear it yet. I'll wait for some keywords.
Do I need to say how now, brown cow?
There we go. I'm hearing it a little bit more. Yes. It's peeking through now.
Yeah. So I was born and raised here. I wanted to get out of here my whole life. I thought it was this small town, hated it, became an adult and had children of my own and realized it's a wonderful place. I love the Midwest. I wouldn't trade it for anything. I do have a couple of cities that my heart belongs to, New Orleans in particular. So I've spent a lot of time there. It's my home away from home. But ultimately, I love being here. We're kind of in the middle of everything. Appleton is along the Highway 41 corridor. So we're about an hour and a half north of Milwaukee and about an hour away from Madison, from where I live. I no longer am in Appleton, but it's still my hometown.
You live in Madison?
Well, I'm about an hour away from Madison. So,
that area, I have a feeling that's where I'll end up one day, is Madison or around Madison. Like, I just need a hospital close in case I'm getting old and I fall and break my hip, so.
I know. We're empty. My husband and I'm married. We're empty nesters. He was also born and raised in Appleton. And we moved out to the country and I used to be an EMT actually for a brief period of time in my life. And so I do think about that. I'm like, well, we're 15 minutes from anything, from a gas station, from another town. I wouldn't trade it for the world, but I do have that little emergency part of me that's like, oh yeah, it might be a long ride.
Well, when you hit your 40s, you start thinking about those upcoming chapters. Like, do I have too many stairs in my place?
Yeah.
Oh my God, it's a nightmare. But that's amazing. Were you now I'm not sure if you've ever heard this show, but I've done a handful of episodes about Wisconsin. I am I'll just go ahead and say obsessed with Wisconsin high strangeness and the whole state in general. I love all the tourist stuff. Give me a fried cheese curd. Give me a new Glarus beer. But were you always into the strange and unusual, my friend?
Always, as far back as I can remember. So
Okay.
I come from a family that likes to tell stories.
Mhm.
An Irish Catholic family. We can really embellish. And grew up with grandparents and great aunts and uncles and close family who just absolutely loved to tell us strange little tales, even scary things that had happened around
Mhm.
town. My great uncle, who was actually the chief of police for a period of time, so he always had great stories.
I bet.
Yeah, yeah. So I've been into things strange and peculiar since I can recall.
Mhm. You
Talk,
were born with it. You're a
yeah,
born weirdo.
yeah. Oh, completely. Yes.
Welcome to the club. Welcome to the
Thanks.
club.
It's
It's
so
warm here.
great to be, surrounded by like-minded friends.
It is nice, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah.
Did you have were you kind of like alone in your interests like with this stuff like as a kid or like into your adolescence and teen years like or was it something you like had you sought out friends who were also kind of weirdos and
I always had one friend who was very normal
Mhm.
and would love and adore my weirdness and celebrate it. And I feel as though when I hit my teenage years, I started to get involved in the punk and goth scene.
There we go.
And then I
A
was,
natural path for us.
yeah, yeah. Then I had found my people, and my best friend, Kimberly, who's also on our paranormal team, she is, the color and brightness to my dark little soul.
Oh,
But she listens to way
Yeah.
darker music than you tend to, though. So she's got
True.
you. She's got you on that.
Yes. Yeah, completely.
Well, you know what's interesting? I find that almost to be a common thing where, like, I guess the bad example is I'm a I've made my living as a comedian and comedic actor for a long time. Yet I don't consume any comedy. I watch like David Lynch movies and like Tarkovsky films, and like things that are so deeply depressing. I've been listening to this. I started listening to Smith when I was like 12. I'm just like that. So everyone's like, God, you consume such dark art. I'm like, yeah, I guess I do. So I think it's common, like it's like we have to temper our. I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off there. I just thought that was
Oh,
interesting.
no. Go ahead. Go ahead.
No. Well, so you like, what was your gateway drug into the weirdness? Was it like the paranormal more, or like UFOs or cryptids, or a little of everything?
Paranormal. I would,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, and fairies and
Yes.
uh, just that kind of mythical folklore.
Mm.
It was a natural progression then into paranormal because I
Yeah.
started having experiences when I was quite young,
Did you know?
and the family spoke of experiences from the time I can recall. I had a great aunt who took care of me occasionally, and she had a marble coffee table. She'd set out all of her fine porcelain statues with a towel over the top so I could play dolls with them. And she'd tell me stories about her siblings who died and passed young, and her two children. They never grew to adulthood, who also passed away young, and just strange happenings around that. So, for example, one of her youngest passed from an obstruction, and the day before she sat on the stairs and told her, "Mom, I'm going to go live up there now." And the next day she passed. So she would tell me these
Oh my Lord.
stories while I'm playing dolls with her statues. And this was
Right.
just normal for my family to say things, or she would say things like, "I'm going to write your name on this with black magic marker. So when I die, no one else wants it, but it belongs to you."
Oh
She
yeah.
just Our family would say the strangest things, but they had all had experiences as well. So I feel as though I just grew up with it around me.
Well, yeah, that's also like I mean, like I think there is a healthy way to like teach young people about death, or even teach adults about death. But like, it's not something I think it's almost like your grandma was like saying like there's not anything to be afraid of. Like,
absolutely.
Yes. Like
yes.
It's like to be afraid of an inevitability is kind of a waste of your fear. Even though everyone's sort of scared of dying for sure, but like it's like don't be consumed by it.
Yeah.
Good points, Granny. Good points. Franky, how did you get started in all this stuff, my man?
Well, as a kid, I was like the Time, Life, and Mysteries of the Unexplained, and I would watch That's Incredible, and like all that stuff. Just totally consumed everything weird that I could. But as you get older and you grow up and you navigate life and with people who kind of want that, they want you to grow up or whatever. Like I wrestled with that my whole life and ended up in a long-term relationship where, just like I kind of lost myself, my identity in a lot of ways. So when that was over a few years ago, I was just like, I want to revisit who I was prior to all this. And, like one of the first things I did was I went on eBay and I bought this little ray gun that I had as a kid. And I was like, I just want this toy back, And then I started seeing, oh my God, the Time Life books and all that stuff. And fortunately, like I've known Christina now for like 15, 16 years. And she was part of that conversation. Like, hey, if you're into ghosts and weird things, why don't you come investigating with my team, the Twats, the Wisconsin Apparition Trekking Society. And and I was like, sounds good. And then it just like spiraled from there. And now I am like all in, like almost, I consume all the podcasts. I watch all the shows. I'm, doing this festival. It's just, it's wild.
Yeah. If you're putting on a festival, that means you're all in.
Yeah.
Because putting on a festival for 5 people is nearly impossible. But for the size that it seems like y'all are going for, it is a lot of work, as I'm sure you know.
It is, and I've produced events and things in theater and comedy shows and all that for 2 decades, so it's a natural progression. But I've never done anything in this world, which is kind of the whole point. Like my world it's comedy and burlesque and theater and all that stuff. So I'm used to a wide variety of diverse folks. Very
love that.
Having like deep conversations about the state of the world, all that kind of thing. And so when we started going to different cons around and realizing that like a lot of it was not that. A lot of it's like shiny white bald dudes with beards, just like me. And I was like, wait, this is not my people. It's my people, but I'm used to more.
But you want others. Yeah. I hear you.
So that's really kind of been the mission of this thing, is like seeking out and amplifying underrepresented voices in this world, because there's a ton of them, but they just don't have they don't have the TV shows, and they don't have all
right.
Well, no one has the TV shows these days, but
right. Yeah, that's TV in general is dying. Let me tell you.
Yeah. But that's been really the most exciting thing, and just getting to know folks. Like, I happened to go out to visit my son in LA a few months ago, and actually got to sit down with Tammy and Bryce, and it's like we've been friends for 30 years, it seems, and just all these different relationships have been really what this is all about, and being able to just open up and be the weirdest, version of me and be loved has been amazing.
Well, I had, one of my lovely patrons and friends, Whitney, the other, we were doing like a group virtual hang last week, and she said something really wonderful that she was like, being like, not being weird, but like being into this stuff deeply with this wonderful, beautiful, open mind of caring and love and empathy is an act of resistance right now. And I was like, my God, it is. I love that.
Totally. Yeah, totally.
Being a weirdo, and I mean weirdo in the lovely sense, not like the creepy dude who's following you around like in a, in an empty mall, because those are out there too. But I'm talking about the weirdos y'all are describing, and I thought that was such an interesting thing to say. It is kind of an act of resistance in a way.
That's beautiful.
It is beautiful. Really beautiful. Winnie's a beautiful person. She gets it, folks. Let's talk about this festival. You mentioned that one of the big driving kind of like once in not purposes, or maybe it is the purpose, but things you want to highlight is underrepresented voices in the paranormal, high strange community. So tell me about this festival. Where is it? What's it called? Give me the 411, please.
Right. Well, Windy City Parafest, and it is a festival, not a conference,
Hell
is
yeah.
June 12th through the 15th of this year in Chicago, Illinois. And we are so excited. This is our first adventure into creating this type of an environment. And we're just having a great time getting to know everyone. As Franky said, it just feels as if every single person we meet just it's so natural, it's so easy, and we want to foster that. So it is going to be a festival. We are going to have so much fun. We're going to start it with a burlesque or burlesque show.
Ooh, cool.
And that'll be our beginning event. The theme for the event is storytelling, and we're going
Ooh.
to set it up a little differently than what people are used to. So there will be panels, and
Right.
not always people who are necessarily thought of or associated with one another when we create these panels for storytelling. In the days following, we have a paranormal Pictionary hosted by Adam Berry. We also,
Awesome.
yeah, we're also doing a really fun 80s prom event hosted by
Haunted 80s prom.
Haunted 80s
What's
prom,
a prom?
excuse me.
Yes.
Yeah, hosted by the quite unusual gals, Nick and No.
Oh my God. Could you, I have to stop you right there and just say, wow, you casted, or you, is that a word? I think so. I'm just going to use it.
It is now.
You casted the
Absolutely.
two perfect people to host that.
Yes.
We love Nick and Noel over here at the High Strangers HQ. They're friends of the show. They're basically my little sisters. I like to think of them as that. They're wonderful. Oh my God. And they're have such great energy. That is going to be so fun.
Yeah,
they're the best.
They really are. They're so fun.
Mm-hmm. They are.
And I think you're exactly right. They're perfect for the event. They're also going to be, I believe, am I correct, Franky? They're going to be doing a live podcast at the event. Yeah. So, and I think we wrap it all up with a tour of Graceland Cemetery on the 15th in the morning. So,
Very cool.
Which is that's my happy place. That's such my happy place.
Yes.
Yeah, I live right at Graceland, and I'm there like usually at least once a week. It's my happy place.
Yeah, well, you got to go to that happy place. You got to find a little piece of land and cruise around there, become friends with the local birds.
Yeah, and the coyotes and the rabbits
absolutely. Like, I'm with you. Like lately, I've been doing some kind of. It sounds weird to maybe people who aren't weird, but like I've been going outside at night because it's starting, becoming spring in the Midwest, and evenings are now tolerable. But I've been going outside and listening to the wind.
Ooh.
And I'm straight up doing that because I read that David. I'm a huge David Lynch fan, and God bless, we just lost him, and I'm still not over it. But he always talked about listening to the wind to get inspiration, and I'm like, I'll tell you what, it's working. Go listen to the wind. The wind has some things to tell you.
Oh, that's interesting.
I live in between two different preservation areas for waterfalls, so we have just. I mean, I feel like I'm really getting old because all of a sudden I really love watching birds.
Yeah, me too. I'm a birder now.
Yeah.
Or I'm into birding.
Yeah,
I swear to God.
Same. Yeah. And I just, what I have found so interesting is as they migrate through in the spring, we'll have these just huge flocks. And if I'm sitting outside when they all take off, at first I kept thinking we were having gusts of wind because I heard this strange deep rumble, and it was just the way they disrupt the air. And listening to that and the different types of birds as they come through has been really inspiring and intriguing. In working with, I'm a witch, so in working with the element of air, hearing that connection has been incredible.
Oh, yeah. I'm with you. And look, as a card-carrying wind connoisseur, you couldn't be having a festival in a better city, my friends.
Yes.
Including, I mean, it's right in the name. It's like y'all. I mean, like maybe you guys should have like a little let's go out and listen to the wind for 20 minutes.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I would love that.
I mean, take some of that local wind in. I'm telling you, tourists miss out on that. I mean, they're missing out if they don't take in the wind.
It's a good wind.
It's true.
You guys have a
It's
great
true.
wind
Artisanal.
scene.
It's artisanal wind.
It's farm to table wind. It's it's not stepped on at all. It's raw. It's pure. It's the good shit.
Completely organic. Yeah.
Yeah, totally. Well, who are some of the other? And it sounds like it's not like traditional where you have like speakers come on and they're kind of I mean, which is obviously there's nothing wrong with that, but like those traditional ways are wonderful too. But this seems like it's more. There's like it feels very interactive to me the way you're describing it, where it's it's audience participation seems heavy.
Yeah, I mean, you've been to events and things like the best times, even after a great, a lecture that you've loved, the best time is hanging out at the bar afterwards and swapping stories and meeting folks.
Yes.
So we're trying to incorporate that into the vibe of like the whole the weekend, where it feels more like you're just there hanging out. I mean, we are being very intentional, and there is programming, but it's meant to feel like we're all family.
Right. Oh, I love that.
Because we are. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's beautiful. I think that's so great.
Yeah.
What were some of the other you have these events? Is there kind of other like little mini events going on like between these events, or like what, or is it just kind of like more of like there's free time? Like let's maybe there's a great chance for some people to go out and get a lovely sandwich or try some local pizza.
Well, actually, what's cool is that our daytime events from noon to like 5:30 are upstairs at a venue that is in Gino's East. So you can actually order Gino's East pizza while you're there. So you've got like the best of the best. Yeah.
Folks, let me just pause and do a little commercial for Gino's. Like, I've been to Chicago a lot, and Gino's is, I mean, for my money, the best deep dish.
Yep, absolutely.
Right. It is a exquisite pizza. So, I mean, get ready.
Yeah, and you can have your Gino's right in front of you while you listen to John Tenney. Like, what could be better?
What is happening? You're describing the dream. Oh, so who else is going to be there? You just casually dropped Tenney. Tenney's a big dog.
Yeah,
he's a big dog. He's a big get, and you can almost get a bigger person.
You can't. I don't feel like you could have a fest like this without John, because like he kind of is the spirit of it, right?
He really is.
Yeah. So we've got. I mean, early adopters were John and Jess and Heather Taddy.
Is Jess gonna be there
and
too?
Nick and No. Yeah, and Toad. Of course.
Oh God, this is great! All the friends.
Yeah. Nick and No. We've got some new faces like Rockette Fox, who is on a show called Liminal TV on YouTube. It's like the super queer friendly ghost hunting show.
Right on.
Ken Boggle, Joshua Darren, Julia Helena Hadass, who wrote a book called Witchcraft Cocktails. So she's a witch and a bartender, and her whole thing is like spell work through mixology. It's great. Tammy and Bryce from Holly Weird, Tanya Lewis, Z the Witch, Robin and Maria from Coffee and Cauldrons, Adam Berry. It is a full lineup.
This is a badass lineup. I mean, It's like, holy smoke. This is like, maybe you would get one of these folks at a conference, but to get all, I mean, this is a real who's who.
Yep.
Strictly A-list as far as I'm concerned, folks.
It really is.
It
really is. Yeah.
So please buy tickets so I don't go broke.
Well, yeah. Do you want to talk about really quick? Just, I mean, we can reiterate at the end, but like, let's just kind of talk about some of the particulars. Like, what are some of the ticket ranges? Is there a package, or like, talk to me about that?
Okay, so we've gotten not a lot, but a handful of people who are like, can you sell a day pass? Because it's a $225 ticket that covers everything. And the deal
that's a great deal, by the way.
Yeah, I think
for that many days and all that is like, especially nothing in the world is that cheap.
Especially in the city too, and like the hotel rate is cheap. Like, I mean, it's a really great deal. And the thing is, we're keeping the limit that we can do is 150, and so it's a very small event because we want to keep it to where it's a really family thing. So selling the day pass doesn't really work because then that means like there's empty seats the day before or whatever. So we're, you know, but the good news is because we have lots of folks who, for whatever reason, whether they don't want to travel to the U.S. right now, which I fully get, or aren't able-bodied or whatever the reasons, just can't make it. We have just launched live stream tickets.
Great.
And you'll be able to do everything but, you know, the cemetery tour. That doesn't make any sense. But all the other events. And we have a code for you. So if anybody uses Berg, B-E-R-G, they get 10% off tickets. And that's live stream tickets or the festival tickets if they want to show up in person. So that's across the board.
Can I tell you something, Franky? I've long dreamt of having a code dedicated to me. This is the first. I swear to God, like, I'm starting to sweat. I'm like nervous. I'm like, do I deserve this code? I don't know.
Cannot be true.
I swear to God, I've never had a code linked to me. This is like I mean, can you hold? I have to call my mom really quick. No, I mean, but seriously, thank you. That's so sweet. And folks, I mean, I will, you know, that code will be front and center in the show notes, right at the tippy top.
Cool. The best part, I do want to mention the best part is that even all the stuff that we're doing, money from all the ticket sales is going to greaterthanhate.org, which is this fabulous charity. It's a conglomeration of other charities that does everything from LGBTQ issues to environmental racism. Like they're just doing great work. Beautiful.
God, Lord have mercy. Y'all are a couple of great human beings. I'm so excited. Like, this sounds like the greatest. Well, one, I love that there is a performative performance art. Like, look, I am very serious about the study of this stuff, right? Like, I've been reading about it my whole life. I take it so seriously, but I don't always take it literally. And I am a big believer, and I don't use the word belief very much, but I am a big believer and that this stuff should be fun. And it is okay to laugh at some of the surrealism and just sheer absurdity of, you know, like, just for example, like, I'm a white dude in his mid-40s, and sometimes I'll be walking around a cornfield where a Bigfoot might have been seen 55 years ago. And I will always stop and I will always have these, like, self-reflexive moments where I'm just laughing and going, like, you know, like, this is great, man. Like, what are you doing, you weirdo? Like, you know, but so I'm able to, like, laugh at myself and laugh within the moment. And I do think, like, when you're investigating, especially, I think sometimes I got a great compliment once, and I'm not trying to brag, but like, I one time went to this ghost hunting thing and I didn't know anyone there. Like, I was invited and I'm like, I should go try this out. And they were all very serious. And I just wasn't, because I mean, like, I wasn't making jokes about what people were doing, but I was kind of like light and, like, you know, I guess I'm just like, maybe I laugh when I'm kind of nervous and scared too, and, like, you know, make jokes. And half the people were really like, oh, that's kind of refreshing. And half the people, they were like, I hate this guy, never bring him back. You know? Like,
they wouldn't want to investigate with us then, because we are very lighthearted. We're respectful, but we're lighthearted. And
me too.
And our team is the production team for the Windy City Parafest. So the Wisconsin Apparition Tracking Society, aka TWATS, is actually we are the production team. So we're doing this, the four of us. That's it. This is who's putting this on. And when we go investigate, I agree. We try to just be lighthearted and take it in for the moment, enjoy the magical things that happen. And while I 100% support people who are extremely scientific about the way they go about things, and not that we're sloppy in any way, but we also are just there for a different reason, and that's just for us to connect. The same thing with the festival. It's all about connection. It's one of the reasons we wanted to keep it small, even though we feel like the purpose is huge, and it's just very intentional. So I love that you went in and just, like, had a great time and laughed. And
I'm there to have fun. I mean, like, I'm not gonna, you know, like, I don't leave my house for you know, like, look, unless I'm getting paid or it's gonna be something fun. I'm a homebody, you know? So if I'm going ghost hunting and meeting strangers at 10:30 p.m., it's like, I'm going there to have a good time. And that doesn't mean I'm like, cracking six packs and like, being disrespectful. It just means like, hey, we're a bunch of strangers who got together and we're hunting spirits or elementals or whatever. This is funny, right? Like, we have to acknowledge this is funny.
Okay, I have to tell you the image that I just had where you were telling that story of you being out in the cornfield.
Right.
The image I saw was somebody a mile up the cornfield with their camera out taking a picture of you and saying it's a Bigfoot sighting.
That's exactly right.
Because they have no idea that you're out there.
In serious, I might have been, I could be mistaken for, I'm 6'4", I'm about 260, I'm a large Norwegian-esque looking man. Usually covered in head to toe in denim, which could be mistaken for like some, blue alien suit. So,
like if the sun hits it just right,
just right. Yeah, I think I could be an ultra-terrestrial. So. I take that as a great compliment. Thank you very much.
It's either an ancient god or I saw an alien. I don't know.
Yes, I would love to be mistaken for one of them. That's now on my new weird bucket list. So gotta make that happen. Happen.
You got yourself a code, so that's off the list now. So
look,
we're gonna have to one up that next year, Franky. You're gonna have to write a song dedicated.
Okay. Done.
There we go.
Look, I fancy myself as a pretty solid bass. So if you want to harmonize, look, I'm game, pal. I love a good musical.
But has anyone ever written a song about you? So you have a code.
Actually,
now.
Well, yes, I will. I will humble brag this. I was in years ago when the first acting jobs I ever had in LA was in Joss Whedon's Dr. Horrible sing-along blog. And I played one of the groupies, and then they did so they released a soundtrack, and then they released a soundtrack about the making of the soundtrack. And the Whedon brothers wrote a song called Steve's Song, and it's about my lisp. So you can probably find that on YouTube or iTunes and stuff. But it's me singing about my lisp, and it's pretty cute.
I love it. I love it. I love that you have a song. I think that's
I know.
So sweet.
I don't have much in life, but I got a song, and now I have a code. So it's really a pretty big day for me, for everyone at Berg or High Strangers HQ. But here's what I'm getting out of this conference is. The first thing that comes to mind is fun and a great time. And folks, let me tell you, that is how you put on a festival. I really think there are conferences. I've been to so many big UFO conferences in my life. And while they're interesting and they are educational and can be fun, fun is not the operative word for these things. It's usually kind of a little more come to this 3-day conference in Phoenix, and we're going to tell you about the alien truth, and we're going to talk to you about disclosure and all these kind of serious things that sometimes have a little hint of negativity to me.
Sure.
It's not really for me anymore. So if I'm going to go to a festival, fun is what I want to be having. You know what I mean?
And that's the thing. This isn't it's not a criticism of anyone else. It's just you can go to plenty of those, and there are a lot of amazing ones. And this is something different.
Yeah. And I think a lot of, maybe it's just, it comes down to semantics. It's the words, but the last few years have been going to a lot of Midwest festivals, day festivals or whatever, and they're always fun. And I think there's small towns will have a little parade for it. There's kids dressed up as little aliens, and I see people having a really great time, selling churros and there's fun little food. It's I think this is what it should be. This stuff doesn't I don't know. I'm just a big believer in 40 out and High Strangers and the paranormal. It if you're not having a good time with it, I'm not really sure what you're doing then.
Yeah.
But I also love it, for example, John Tenney. I remember the first time I saw John Tenney speak, and I love John. John's I became really fast friends with him. Turns out we have a lot in common with music and stuff like that. And but the first time I ever saw him speak, I went up to him afterwards. I was like, that is nothing else I've seen in terms of people speaking on the high street. I go, you just did an hour of stand-up comedy.
Yeah.
He's the George Carlin of the paranormal. I was laughing more than I was going, huh. You know, I remember just like I was watching him having a cocktail and just laughing my ass off, but then also thinking on he can like crack you up, like make your ribs hurt laugh, and then the next minute you're like, wow, maybe that is the meaning of the world. You know? Like it's like, yeah, he's in touch with existentialism in a way that I think like a lot of people in the paranormal community like are not. And he's, you know, I mean, he's an inspiration. He's a great guy.
Yeah, absolutely. Like he's absolutely, his voice had to be a part of this. I mean, I don't know that I'd call it underrepresented because he's all over the place, but he's all over the place because he comes from a place of empathy and joy and kindness and weirdness in the best way possible. And so, of course, he had to be a part of it.
Yeah, well, he's really emerged as a leader, in my opinion, and he would probably hate that I said that. You know,
which is why he should be. Yeah, exactly.
Yes. Which is why he's a reluctant leader. You know, like that's always kind of people you want in charge, not the ones who want to be in charge. But like, he really has shown a lot of us how to you know, put on a festival like this, or even behave. And like, you know, like he's a really great role model for like kindness in this world, you know, in these paranormal, like little or ufological communities. Because as you know, I've been in this stuff a long time. It's like anything else in life. It's very like there are just the best people in the world, and then there are some people who I'm just like, ugh, God, it's a lot of hate.
Yeah, and he and Jess really inspired us. I mean, we were already forming the concept, but hearing the two of them speak with us at the Michigan Paracon and just chatting with them, and even Jess made a statement when she had her time on stage, and I think the dynamic between the two of them, the way that they lift one another up and support one another and staying strong about being loving and kind and having very realistic, empathetic boundaries as well. They've been a huge inspiration through this whole thing, and Jess has been so much help as well. So
she is an amazing human being. So hard funny too. Like I remember, like I had her on my show early on. She came on my show, which was so nice of her. You know, like we didn't know each other that well, and it was, you know, probably a big deal for my show at the time. Probably helped me get a lot of listeners. But she was so funny, and I kind of feel like I'm like your show, like they're like an old school like Nichols and May comedy team. Like, that's how I feel. They feel like a throwback comedy team, like it was like an old comedy album your parents would have on an LP. Like it's so good. They finish each other's sentences. They're so in tune, like comedically together that like you can't. That kind of magic is rare.
And it's you nailed it, because the old you know, like George and Gracie and all that stuff, where like the shape of it was always like the frustrated smart woman and the buffoon man, like it's shaped like that, but they don't treat each other like that. Like you get that vibe and they write it, but neither of them think anything of the other except how great the other person is, and they exhibit that, which is like that's a needle to thread for sure.
Absolutely. And they like, I mean, like, not that this is like a requirement, but like, I do love how they bust balls on each other, like constantly. Yeah. They're always like, you know, giving each other the business. And I'm like, look, there's like malicious ways to like do that, and then there's ways that best buddies do. And I always find that like, I love being let in on that world of like how, you know, it's just so great.
That must mean that the rest of that must mean that the rest of my team loves me, because they do nothing but bust my balls.
Right. I think as long as it's done with like kindness and, you know, absolutely. You know,
these women are.
I feel like that's how you know someone loves you, is if they're able to like make fun of you. You know, like my wife just gives me the business, and boy, do I have it coming, because I'm such a buffoon. Like, so I love that. That's why we ended up getting together, because I'm like, man, she's giving me the business, and I love it. Oh, wow. This is going to be so fun. And Adam Berry, I've never met Adam, but Adam seems like such a fun person, too.
Oh, yeah. He's amazing.
Yeah. Every time I've ever interacted with him or been able to watch him perform, he has me laughing so hard that my stomach hurts, my cheeks hurt by the time I'm done. He's hilarious and a little inappropriate, which I kind of love. I mean,
that's fun.
I really love. Yeah.
Yeah. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yes.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
One person's inappropriate is totally appropriate. No, that's not
completely
a word. Completely
appropriate for me. Yep. It's my sense of humor. And yeah, he was at the top of the list. We really did quickly discover who we wanted there. We already kind of all knew who our favorites were. We all agreed. It was right in there, and we were thrilled to have him.
What an amazing life. Now, if folks, or if my friends listening to this right now wanted to like get more information about this, is there a place on the old internet that they could be directed to? We will get to that in the show notes. I mean, obviously, but I just want to reiterate it, so.
That's a really good idea. We should do that. We should have a website.
Well, I mean, it doesn't even, who's doing websites anymore? I mean, like, no, but like, is there a place, like, is it like in one of your bios for Instagram or something like that? Like,
sure. So we have a website. It's Windy.
Oh, you do have a website?
Yeah,
okay.
we do. We do. We have windycityparafest.com.
Oh, great.
And then we are on Instagram as Windy City Parafest. And I believe, are we on Facebook? We are on Facebook as well.
We're on Facebook and TikTok.
And TikTok,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so people could go and get the information about the speakers, the details, and do you have hotel recommendations on there?
Yeah, we have a hotel actually, and you get the info once you buy the tickets, but it's right in the middle of the whole thing. And another thing that we did is we put together this like map of, because a lot of people are going to be their first time in Chicago, so I wanted to. It's got the hotel, it's got the parking, it's got all that stuff, but then it's also got like 60 plus stories of everything from UFOs to cryptids to ghosts and true crime and all that. So if you want to explore the city, you can spend a lot of time. I'm encouraging people to like book extra days because the hotel is really cheap.
Dude, so there's like a to-do list of like weird stuff to do.
Yeah.
Sure, yeah.
I mean, that is how you run a fucking festival. Let me tell you right now, that's what I've always wondered, because like when I'm always doing that research before, if I go to like Nashville to speak at a thing, I will research incessantly for like a couple weeks before, so I have some places I can stop at. This is great. You're really thinking of everything here.
All set up for you. It's all on the website. We really, it's all about, we want to make people feel so taken care of. We just want you to forget about everything else and just come and have an amazing time and enjoy the city, enjoy the company.
Now, let me ask you a question, and there's no judgment here, but what is your favorite style of Chicago pizza? Is it the classic deep dish that everyone knows and loves? Or is it the Chicago Tavern, the thinner, the square cut pieces, cut in party style?
I'm tavern all the way. Like,
Same.
when I first moved here, it was deep dish, because of course that's the thing. But almost no one that lives here eats that on a regular basis. Maybe when your parents come visit, you'll have it, but tavern all the way. And specifically Pequod's.
Pequod's is amazing.
Yeah.
Sorry, I got so excited. Pequod's is amazing.
Hey, we are excited about food too. We could do all food. I mean, no problem.
I mean, at a certain point, like, I'm wondering, is my show just going to morph into like a talking to people in the high strange world about what food they like? I mean, it kind of is, but already.
There's also,
it's important.
On the map I mentioned, there's a layer that you can turn on that will show you every restaurant in the Bear.
What? This is great. This is awesome. I mean, you really thought of it. But like, this is like a real great, like, it's like you guys are like weird travel agents and you're putting together this amazing package.
Yep.
What an experience, though. This truly is a festival.
Yes.
I love my city, and I love these people, and I love my ghosties and my UFOs and all that. Like, I just absolutely, I love it, and I want to share it.
Well, speaking of sharing, folks, I would love to hear some stories about weird Wisconsin and weird Chicago, if that's what you want to talk about, or weird Illinois, whatever you want to talk about. But before we do, if you don't mind, I would love. I need to. I have to go let my cats. I have to go give my cats treats before they stop. They're about to lose their mind if they don't get treats. So I'm going to give them treats. It's going to take about 43 seconds.
No problem.
But maybe you could talk about the last great lunch you both had, and to just speak to the listeners candidly, and just tell them about a great lunch you had recently. And I'll be back in like 43 seconds.
Sounds great. Jump in.
I was
Franky.
hoping we would do one of these. I was hoping we do that. This is my favorite part of Steve's podcast.
I love it.
Just takes off for like a minute. It's my favorite.
Yeah. What was your last great lunch?
My last great lunch was with your husband when he came down to visit me for the day, and we just ate our way through the entire city. We went to, it was both of our first times at a place called Bari Foods, Italian beef sandwich. And this is just a deli. Like, you stand at the counter and eat, and oh my God, I think I came while I was eating this.
So he said it was like absolutely phenomenal. I know the environment, I think, like, made it worth it for him as well. So
yeah, I was about to bite in, and I'm like, there is no way the sandwich is as good as people say. And I bit it and was just like, this is absolutely better than these.
I can't wait to hear what just happened.
I'm so happy that I got to be one of these. My favorite part of your podcast is when you're like, I'm going to leave for a couple of minutes. You should just talk.
I love doing it, and I feel like I don't always do it because some people they're like maybe don't want to be put in the spot, and I can totally respect that. But I could tell y'all were ready to take the mic and go to town, and it's the wonderful thing is it's it's selfishly a little treat for myself.
Sure.
Because when I come back and listen through and do some editing, which by editing it basically means I'm just mixing the sound. I prefer a raw unedited thing because. Mm-hmm. When things are edited too much, sometimes I'm like, well, what happened? I want to know what was happening behind the scenes. A dog jumped up. I love when dogs jump up. So, but thank you for speaking directly to the listeners. They're going to very much enjoy it. And now, Christina and Franky, can you regale your Uncle Steve with a couple stories of the strange and unusual from the Midwest?
Absolutely. Yeah. So I have a really fun story that connects my hometown with Chicago.
Ooh, this is good. Bonus points.
Yeah. So we have a home in Appleton, Wisconsin that is called the Hearthstone, and it is one of the first, if not the first, electrified home.
The Hearthstone?
Correct. Yes.
Well, that's my favorite video game to play on my phone. It's amazing.
Yeah. It's a big, beautiful Victorian mansion that was one of the first Edison electrified homes. I think it was second only to a train station in New York, if I recall correctly. And the Rogers family built this home. And Mr. Rogers, during this time, he was a businessman. He was taking a chance on putting electricity in the house, and he was always looking for unique investment opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
And so it happened that he came across a Mr. who we now know as Mr. Holmes, but Mr. H.H. Holmes of Chicago.
Uh-oh.
And it is said that he lost what in today's money would be millions of dollars to H.H. Holmes, investing in one of his swindling projects where he was going in and convincing him that he had a business and an investment opportunity. Unfortunately, it's not known what the exact investment opportunity would be, but there was a lot of trouble between the relationship there, of course, as we now know the true personality of H.H. Holmes. And really, what I found so fascinating is that H.H. Holmes said that he tortured Mr. Rogers in order to get him to sign over the money in confession. And he also claimed that he killed him. But we know that that's not true because H.H. Holmes passed away before Mr. Rogers did. And actually, on his passing, Mr. Rogers was buried in Graceland Cemetery.
Really? Which is
Crazy connection.
which people will be visiting if they
Yes.
Oh, that is fascinating.
Yeah, and actually in preparation for this, I went back because I recalled that there was a connection. I had gone on a Halloween historic tour of the house a few years ago, and I knew there was a connection, but I couldn't remember what it was. And it was in doing a little research for it that I discovered that Mr. Rogers was buried in Graceland, which I just thought was wow, like meant to be. Great little connection to the story.
That
Yeah.
is so. Oh wow! I love that. Isn't it? It's so amazing how these like weird events and like true crime and like weird history somehow are stewed in the pot with the paranormal and Fortiana. Like I keep on bumping into this, so that is extra intriguing to me. Wow, I love that. A plus.
Thank you. Thank
A
you.
plus.
And the house is considered one of the most haunted locations in Appleton. And unfortunately, they don't allow people to do investigations there,
Okay.
but it is open as a museum. They have wonderful events throughout the year. And I'm always one to try and support our local historic museums and clubs and associations. So I do love it for that.
Can I ask you a question? So, like, when a place like that house like does not allow like an actual like block off 4 hours for an investigation, can you kind of do like guerrilla investigating? Like, I'm paying for the tour, and while I'm in this tour with a bunch of normies, and can you have like a little spirit box with like a little headpiece going in? Like, have you ever tried to do that? Like sneaky investigations?
At the Railroad Museum in Green Bay, Kimberly and Denise, our other two team members, and I went and did bring some equipment with us and went during a weekday when there was really no one else around. And we did capture some really amazing evidence. We actually captured what sounded as if it was one of the porters calling out to get everyone to board the train in the background.
Oh,
which was so amazing because we kept going back being like, did we really? We were reviewing on our tape recorder as we were there. We're like, did we really catch that? And there were little recordings that you could press a button and play. So we went back and pressed to just see if there was anything that sounded the same. There was nothing, which was incredible. So yeah, we've done some sneaky things, but I haven't with the Hearthstone just because I haven't been back since I did the tour. It's a beautiful home, but there's only so much of it. And there's always that third floor they won't let you up on. Drives me crazy.
Yeah,
I want to see it all.
they're holding back the mystery. It's like I love that you have actually participating. I'm going to call it guerrilla investigating. Let's coin a new term. I'm a guerrilla investigator. I'm an extra edgelord when it comes to this stuff. Yeah, I'm gonna start doing that. I have to go to Trader Joe's later this afternoon. And I'm gonna like bring my spirit box and like wave it in, or wave my Eve meter in front of the Olive Tapenade and see if there's a haunted.
Please do, because of course, like the most frequent thing people who don't do this ask us always is like, well, aren't you afraid you're going to bring something home with you? I'm like, and I always respond with, you could bring something home with you from the grocery store. That's totally. So please, let's do more grocery store investigations. I'm there for it.
Yeah, I look. I'm at grocery stores quite a bit. I'm always needing, like some scallions for when I'm cooking or something. I'm there almost every day. They know me well at the Trader Joe's. Let me tell you. Oh, it's this guy again with the Crocs and the denim outfit. Franky, do you have a story of the strange and unusual from the great state of Illinois?
Well, yeah, Chicago specifically is got we have everything. I mean, if you look at the map, it's all we've got Lake Michigan, and we've got the river that comes right through it and splits. I mean, there's a lot of water, so I think that's a reason. Plus, there's millions of people here, so we're going to have stories. Sure. I mean, what do you want? We've got ghosts, we got true crime, we got UFO, we got cryptids.
What's at the top of your mind? What's exciting you right now? Did you see a vampire queen?
Yeah.
Well, I think maybe I'll go with Vampire Queen to start off with. That's not something that's offered as a story every day to me, I'll be honest.
Well, what's funny is it also has a Wisconsin connection, because this woman named
I love this.
Evelyn Ramadka was born in Oshkosh in the 1800s, and she left her husband, like didn't even tell him where she was going. Came to Chicago. She would go there and go home, and he would have no idea where she had been, and she wouldn't say anything. What she was doing at the time was building a gang of women jewel thieves, and they were busted in like 1911, I think it was. They worked the Victoria Hotel and the Auditorium Theater, which are right downtown near the Congress Hotel, which is like a super haunted place where H.H. Holmes stayed, and a few other folks.
That guy, he had his fingers in everything. Yeah.
But the thing is, like, when they got caught, then all these people started coming forward, because the story in the paper was men would like fall to their womanly charms or whatever, and then just get robbed of robbed of rings and jewels and pearls that they had bought for their wife in Chicago to take home, just all this stuff. But when they would go to the cops, they wouldn't be able to talk. They would have no voice, and they'd have to like write out their thing. And so when that story came out, a bunch of other people jumped on, was like, that happened to me, that happened to me. But no one would allow their name to be used, because of course the story is, I'm a man who like was coerced by this beautiful woman to go to her hotel room, so it was like, it's been lore forever, but there aren't names associated except for Evelyn's, who, when there was enough evidence to put her in jail.
Whoa, okay.
So yeah, but the paper called her the Vampire Queen because she would steal voices. That was the whole thing.
Oh, that is wild! I've never heard of anything like that.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
And I now live right really outside of Oshkosh, so it's local to me. That's my closest city.
Another great name for a city, Oshkosh. Like, what could go wrong in Oshkosh?
That's a good one.
Sheboygan. I mean, like, that's another thing about Wisconsin. It's like the Appleton's even so pleasant. It reminds me of like, just a town of wonderful orchards everywhere, and you're allowed to pick as much fruit as you want. I don't know if that's how it really works, but that's fantastic. Wow, great story. Vampire Queen. That is. I'm writing that down. I'm gonna see if we can find some. I want. Do any old articles exist on that?
Yeah, I found a few. I'm trying to write the outline for a television pilot for that to as a show. Yeah, because I think that'd be cool.
Oh my gosh! Well, if you need some dopey, like drunk, like whiskey filled, like red faced, like got old timey guy who gets seduced by a vampire queen, I will have my agent send you my reel today.
There you go.
Oh, Christina, do you have any other strange and unusual stories?
I do. I was raised, went to Catholic school, went to St. Joseph's Catholic School, and that was our family's local parish. It was a German Catholic parish, and it was in unison with St. Mary's, which was the Irish Catholic parish. But St. Joseph's was a little bit more grand inside, and so my family preferred that for their wedding and funeral ceremonies.
Opulence.
Absolutely. But the interesting connection that most people didn't even realize was there until the late 1970s is that there was a father in the late 1910s, like teens, 1920s, who served St. Joseph's Parish, and his name was Father Theophilus Rieslinger.
Wait, what was the name again?
Theophilus.
Theophilus.
Yeah, I know. I had to look that one up. Yeah,
that's a wild name.
Yeah, and so he actually was the country's most leading authority in exorcisms for many years for the Catholic Church. Got himself in a little bit of trouble because he would go against the church's wishes and just go ahead and do exorcisms. But he actually wrote a book, his little memoir on one of his exorcisms that he did, which there's multiple names for the woman who he met with, but he actually had 2 interactions with her and performed 2 exorcisms on her, and he ended up writing about her, and her name is different in several different publications. They do say now that she was probably from Michigan, but they met in Iowa at a parish there, and he wrote a book called Begone Satan, which a pamphlet, which came out in the late 1920s, early 1930s. There's a little bit of conflicting information there, but that was actually the foundation for The Exorcist.
What?
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's wild.
So he was the leading authority for the church until his passing, and he served as our parish priest at St. Joseph's during that time for a good amount of his actual time with the church. So he was there most frequently. He did go back and forth to a couple of different areas around the state, but that was kind of his home base. He was known for being an excellent speaker. He went out of his way to study language in Germany before he came here to the United States, took time during the major labor movement in 1910 to go back to university to study that and study socialism so he could identify more closely with the people of that movement and understand how to properly help care for them. And then just really moved forward with becoming an exorcist and the expert in the field. He refused to ever talk about it during his time as a priest serving any of the parishes. Instead would just say that he had written everything. It was all sent to the Vatican. And the only thing that I was able to find that is accessible to us as the public is that original pamphlet that he wrote.
Amazing.
That's
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. So in my time in the church, I knew nothing of him. I just happened to have taken a history walk with our local museum last summer, and they mentioned it briefly as we were walking past the church, and I was just instantly fascinated since that had been my church that I grew up in, went to, church with school every Wednesday and on the weekends with the family, and yeah.
What an interesting wrinkle to the history of this church that you discovered late in life. I mean, that is like, that probably makes you go back and like re-examine like, I mean, that's you're not gonna, that's not an everyday occurrence where you have a legend like Theophilus.
Theophilus.
That is hard to say
Yes.
with the list, let me tell you. I'll let you say it for me. Thank you.
Tough to say. No, it's okay because it starts with Theo, which I was like, okay, but it's complex. It's a Greek combination meaning lover of God.
And then there's obviously the theosophy of movements, and I'm wondering if that has any. I don't know what that word theosophy actually means. I know what it represents, the Madame Blavatsky and all that stuff, but interesting.
Yeah.
Wow, fascinating. Yeah. Another A+.
Thanks.
Y'all are slinging some gems here.
You have to look him up because there is a photo of him. And what I was fascinated by, and I think what really startled me, was that he looked exactly like a priest that our family had become very close to when I was probably around 6 or 7. A gentleman who would come and have dinner with us every week, and just we were very, very close with him, and they did transfer him overseas, and so we never heard from him again or spoke with him again. But when I saw the photo, it was startling, the resemblance. It was interesting.
Wow,
yeah.
That is interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, I love it. Theophilus, whatever. I'll never be able to say
That's
it.
Exactly
exactly, right? I nailed it, right?
Father.
Perfect diction.
You could just call it Father.
That's okay, because I think if
Father.
you say it three times right, he shows up. So it's totally fine if you miss it.
Yeah, and I'm not in the mood for an exorcism today. It's just not what I'm up for. So
yeah, look, Theo, babe, not today, all right?
Yeah. Not today.
Check in with me next week.
Yeah.
That's incredible. Wow. I mean, like, that's another TV pilot idea for you, Franky, right there. I think you could I think John Tenney is ready for scripted material. I would cast John Tenney as Theo. Theophilus, whatever his name is. Teddy can do it. He can do it. He's got a lot of charisma. He's a strong presence.
Yeah, and he's been.
I could see him playing a demonologist priest.
Oh yeah,
he can do it. Oh, I'd let him exorcise me if I had a demon. I'd probably be the first person I'd call. John, I got a demon. Look, I know you're in Detroit. I'm going to catch a red eye. You exercise the demon. We go have a couple beers, and then I'll fly back. But, Franky, do you have another Chicago-y, Illinois-esque, and you know what I'm saying. Do you have another story from your local-ish area? Thank you.
Yeah, well, we talked about that this is a very food city and a very,
Yeah.
like hot dogs, Italian beefs, pizza, all that stuff. There was a
Yes,
there was a
please.
guy who was called the Sausage King in like 1895 or so. And I've talked with this story with Noelle, because she claims to be the Sausage King of Chicago, and she's like,
she might be. She loves a hot dog, man.
Yeah,
she is deeply passionate. Yeah.
So this guy, A.L. Lutgert, ran a company called Sausage Works, and at some point, like 1895, I think it was, or 1897, he was arrested because his wife had been missing, and they discovered that he had actually dissolved her in the basement of the sausage factory in potassium chloride or potash, or there's like a mineral that will actually dissolve body, but it doesn't dissolve all the bones. So they found the bones, and the thing is, he very likely, at least the rumor was, put her into the sausages.
I knew this was coming.
Yeah, and so when he was convicted, his best defense was that he just said, "I was just trying to make soap," which doesn't say I didn't kill her and dissolve her. His defense was, "I didn't put her in the meat," which was,
I didn't put her in the. Look, I might have killed her, but
yeah. But they actually, like, the sale of sausage nationwide went down for a while because people were like freaked out, and it was like, do you know what they actually use for that stuff? Like, it's not much better.
Jesus, man.
Yeah,
that is
pretty
wild.
bonkers.
The Sausage King.
Yeah,
and it makes you wonder. Please go ahead. Please.
Well, even like, and when he went to jail or into prison, and he would complain all the time, saying that ghosts were haunting him, that the cops and the jailers had hired ghosts to torment him while he was in prison. So it's got all this like paranormal. I mean, he was obviously like had a mental health issue, but it's a fascinating story that there's like so many articles on him. Yeah. This place now is condos. Really? The building is now set of
it always
condos.
Turns into condos, doesn't it? Every time, I swear to God, without fail, any haunted place or place where people were made into sausage, you can sure bet 50 years later there's going to be a condo gentrified of Starbucks.
It's pretty bonkers.
And it makes you wonder. I wonder if he was given the name the Sausage King, or if he's just like, I'm just going to call myself I'm going to anoint myself the Sausage King. Because in Chicago, I mean, like, it's a sausage-heavy place. I got to think back in the day, even more so.
That's a good question.
To give yourself the moniker of the Sausage King. Boy, he really thinks a lot of his sausage, doesn't he?
What man doesn't?
Right.
Oh.
Bam.
There it is.
Bam. 3 points, Christina.
That's
3 points. I also, I wrote this down while you were saying it. I am obsessed by this concept of being able to hire ghosts to hunt somebody.
That's a business I think that we should start.
It's called witchcraft, my friend.
Right, exactly. Listen, gents. This has been a thing for a long time.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that might be actually a good thing to have on speed dial, is a small business who you can hire out to haunt people.
And I'm available on Instagram.
Christina, we'll talk off the air. I have like 3 or 4 people I need you to haunt. I know it's on short notice, but can you get it done by Saturday?
Yes.
Yes, she can.
She can. That is fantastic. Well, can you hit me up with another Wisconsin-related tidbit?
Oh, let's see. I'll give you a little true crime, and I do apologize because I kind of grabbed those 2 stories, but this one is close to home. So, same parish, same school. In the 1960s, maybe late 50s, there all of a sudden appeared brown paper bags filled with body parts all around Appleton, Wisconsin.
Wait, you said this in the 1950s, 60s?
Yes.
Oh my God.
Yes. And actually what happened one day was, while my mother was out on the playground, one of the kids went and kicked one of these bags, and a whole bunch of toes came flying out.
Okay.
Yes. And There were body parts found within the parish church as well in brown paper bags. And so the police were in a panic. They thought, of course, forensics were a little different back then. They didn't know if they were all from one person or from multiple people. So as they started to look into things, they started to realize, okay, this was from one body. It was definitely a man. And my mom and her sister, on walking home from school, looked at a house, and my mom jokingly said to her sister, I bet that's the house where the dead body came from. And sure enough, it was found out later that an elderly woman's husband had passed away, and she was really, I think, at a point where she was maybe suffering from some mental health issues or dementia.
Mhm.
And she felt she didn't have the resources and didn't know what to do with him once he had passed. And so she cut up his body and placed bags around town. She also had frozen some of him. And it was discovered that that was the house indeed that she lived in.
Wow.
Oh,
So that's a
wow.
close story. And this is a story that my mother would share with me, picking me up from school when we would drive past the house. We'd always kind of joke about it. And so it drives me I will find out what her name is for you and get it to you. But yeah, the woman who did it, I always just thought that was fascinating. And let me tell you, if I see like a bag sitting on the ground, I'm not touching it. Like,
No.
it's not my thing.
No.
No, not
Yeah,
to yuck anyone's yum. Don't want to do it.
right.
But
Look, like
that's not
I'm
my
as tempted. I'm as tempted as anyone to grab a stray lunch bag because there could be a delicious sandwich or a fine chip or a little dessert in there,
or 10 toes.
or there could be toes.
Exactly.
Now, this is a cautionary tale that I specifically needed to hear because I'm one to pick up an empty lunch pail or a sack, and just peep in there. But like now that I know that toes are on the table, look, folks, I'm out. That's a hard exit for me. Speaking of Chicago, like, one of my favorite kind of mainstream, top 40, hits UFO sightings and encounters was the Chicago O'Hare in 2006. I actually think like it's weird. People talk about a lot of the UFO cases, but like even though there's not like video, but like there were so many witnesses and diverse witnesses. And if folks don't know the case, in 2006, I can't remember what time of year it was. There was a grayish like gunmetal like type saucer craft that was above the United Terminal. I think it was like C-17.
C-17, yeah.
C-17, right? And there were 2 pilots who saw it. There were a handful of United workers. There were just travelers who saw this thing. And then it shoots up in the air and makes a hole in the clouds.
Yep.
Like, it is a crazy case. And I know up until a couple of years ago, it was the most like clicked on story in Chicago Tribune history. So I just thought I'd throw that in there because I think it's like a really important like modern UFO sighting that kind of gets swept under the table a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, there's radio, like the tower was radioing about it. They're like, is anyone seeing that over C-17? Like it's well documented.
Yeah, it is. There was always this rumor that I heard that Dan Aykroyd paid like $2 million for like some like really clear like footage of it, but I don't think that is real.
I feel like he would put that out if he did. I feel like
he would too. I think Dan seems like a guy who wants to share the wealth a little bit, so I feel like he put it out there to the world. It's a fun little piece of like urban legend, though. I like that.
Yeah.
In Chicago, also had a Mothman flap not that long ago.
Yeah, 2017. There were like 22 sightings and some footage, and yeah.
Is that something, I know like that's a thing that's known to us weirdos, right? But do the normies know that? Like, do the normies know about like the UFO O'Hare sighting? Do they know about that there was a Mothman flap, or is it kind of something that like just isn't talked about locally, or people just don't care?
I mean, I really only do talk about it with my other weirdos, so I don't know if anybody else knows about it. I mean, it was a news story for a while, and the Mothman stuff, even in 2017, I wasn't really plugged into the paranormal world, but I remember hearing about it. So maybe, I mean, but it was kind of widespread. It was out over the lake. Some boats saw things. up in. What's interesting is I forget the show that it's a recent show, and they
Unsolved
reenact.
Mysteries.
Was it where they're up in Wakanda, Illinois? In the first story.
Yeah.
They are in this neighborhood, and I was looking at the reenactment. I was like, that looks so familiar. And then they said the name of the town, and I looked at the address. Like, I lived next door in the 90s to that place. I was in that neighborhood. Yeah. Yeah.
Where is that? Is that like a Chicago suburb?
Yeah, it's like about an hour outside of the city on the northwest side.
Okay.
Kind of closer to Wisconsin.
Okay. Yeah, Chicago is like, you think of the city, and then there's like a zillion, like Skokie, Evanston, like Waukegan.
Which sounds more Wisconsin, actually.
They're definitely ripping off Wisconsin on that. Christina, and also Wisconsin, like, aside from having this like amazing like Fortean, high strange, paranormal, whatever label you want to put on it, history, and it really, really, really does. It also has like, especially, you told me like a handful of stories I've never heard of, but like it has this really like, I mean, like, I'm not saying this is a good thing, but like it's got this really strong true crime.
Oh, absolutely.
Like history, it's undeniable. I mean, like some of the most like notorious serial killers.
I think we have the most documented serial killers in the state. I think like people who are really into true crime, it's not a huge interest for me, but I mean, it does come along with the territory, right?
It does. Right? It does. Yeah, I hear you.
And so, yeah, I do believe that we have the largest documented record of serial killers here from Wisconsin. I'm not exactly sure why.
I wonder if the tourism department has considered using it as a slogan. Come to Wisconsin, we have the most notorious.
I feel like with how big true crime is right now, I think
it would be a boom.
It would yes, it would.
It would.
Yeah.
It would. People would be like, really?
Yeah.
Hun, cancel that trip to Maui. We're going to
Wisconsin.
We're going to Oshkosh.
Hell yeah. Yeah. I think Milwaukee area seems to be where a lot of them are from, like right along the edge there of the state. So
you got your Dahmer, and Gacy was like hovering around that area.
And I think Gein was like up along that way as well. So yeah.
Ooh, gives me the shivers. Like those are some scary folk.
I mean, the weirdest thing in Wisconsin. Can we talk about House on the Rock? That place is weird.
I'm actually going there.
That place
in
is
a couple
weird.
days.
Are you serious?
Excuse me. Yeah. Well, I'm a carousel girl. Love my carousels. They make me cry, and it truly is the most beautiful carousel ever. And I swear, at some point, I am going to get to ride that carousel. I'm going to find a way.
Well, there is a lot of occult adjacent stuff and esoteric stuff related to Frank Lloyd Wright. I have an episode that I'm going to be releasing next week with a gentleman who is a historian of the weird of Wisconsin. He told me some very interesting things. And
cool. Can I ask who?
Jeff Feinup.
I know Jeff.
Yeah.
And actually, I gave him a little story about Frank Lloyd Wright because my brother is a Taliesin graduate. And my son is also is an architect as well. So
kidding.
Yeah. So there's an interesting little story about Frank after death that is.
Well, can I hear it? He did not tell me about that.
Oh, sure.
And I'm very interested in Frank Lloyd Wright.
But I'm going to say it anyways. So his wife was really upset that he was supposed to be buried next to his first wife, and at my brother's graduation, there's, one of the elder gentlemen who is still part of Taliesin was there, and you can look out from her office onto the courtyard in Taliesin West and see a stone wall around the courtyard. There's a part that is different. And I guess that after his death, he was buried, and she sent a bunch of his colleagues from Taliesin up to get his body. They put it in the back of the car. They brought it back. They burned it. They mixed it in with the mortar, and it is now mixed in supposedly with that wall in the yard where you can see the difference. So
get out of town.
She could look out and keep an eye on him and make sure he
was
wasn't getting in trouble. Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
That is so wild.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ogilvana she was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
She was
Mm-hmm.
super into the occult. Yeah.
She was a mystic. There's this, there's a lot of interest. I mean, like I've been really, because I tried to go to Taliesin last summer with my friend, and because we were doing a little Wisconsin tour, going to look at weird stuff, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh, I got to go to Taliesin. And for some reason, I'm such an idiot. I didn't realize you'd had to have reservations.
It's a whole day experience. Yes.
Yeah, it was like we went, like in the morning. They're like, well, yeah, we're like, you need to buy tickets like a few weeks ago. I was like, oh no. So but they were really nice. They kind of let me walk around the main floor and some of the grounds. And I'm like, oh, but I'm going to go back this summer and do that in House on the Rock.
Let me know when.
I will.
Absolutely. And I mean, my brother in school, so at that point, the school was still in its original form. They would spend summer here in Wisconsin at Taliesin and Spring Green, and then the whole school would pack up for winter, and they would then move to Taliesin West. And you lived in the school year round. All of their meals were made. They lived right there in the beautiful properties, which sadly is not the same. The historical foundation came in, and there was a lot of controversy and upset at the time, and they took over, but at least it's being preserved, which is good and important. For
now, just wait until the condos go up,
Well, they have, unfortunately, they have sold off a large amount of Taliesin West property for development, which is heartbreaking, because as graduate students, they would have to build a shelter out in the desert as part of their graduation, and that was all part of the ritual that was required of them when Frank was alive as well. So.
Right, and that area is just so breathtakingly beautiful, and there's all those wonderful earthworks. I think the Man Mound is close to there, which I went and saw the Man Mound, and Astalon is probably only a couple hours away, and that's just unbelievable to go to. Like that's the thing about Wisconsin, is there's so much. I'm very into like earthworks and mounds and stuff like that, and I once heard it, I don't know if actually to be a fact, but that in southern Wisconsin alone, there was the largest concentration of mounds, putting all the other mounds in the United States together. So like Wisconsin has more earthworks, I believe, than any other state. So and I get so excited about that stuff. Again, completely. I guess I'm becoming an old person, because like that's the kind of stuff that you're excited about is
gonna go mounds. Travel and see this mound.
Exactly. People are like, you're doing what? I'm like, no, this is how I'm choosing my vacation. I mean, I love it.
The Hodag, come on.
You gotta love the Hodag. Love the Hodag.
Which I found out recently. So I'm currently in Wisconsin, even though I live in Chicago. I come up to my production manager and best friend's farm a lot. A guy he went to school with, great uncle, was the one who did the original reporting in the newspaper for all that. It went around collecting all the stories so that they could make the composite sketch that is now known as the Hodag, which I'd never heard of until I started going camping up in the North Woods a couple of years ago, and I was like, I'm sorry, there's a what?
Hodag. It's a great name.
Yeah, it's a great cryptid as well.
Yeah, it's a fun good one. Lore. It's good lore. I love the lore. Bring it on. More the better. Christina and Franky, this has been really just an absolute treat. You guys have a great energy. I could not be more excited for both of you putting on such a great festival. There's no chance this doesn't go over incredibly well with the lineup you have, just the intention you're going into this with, and I love that fun is a huge component.
Absolutely.
It's, I mean, like going and getting, it's like every aspect of this sounds like a very entertaining, and like, look, a lot of folks get kind of like, oh, like you're just into the entertainment value of the stuff. I'm like, yeah, absolutely. Like my show, I don't think of it as like a paranormal show. I think of it as an entertainment show about the paranormal. Like I want it to be entertaining. Like otherwise, what are we doing here?
Exactly.
So I think you've set up an exact kind of situation that me personally would love to attend, and I'm gonna move heaven and earth to make this. I'm not positive I can come, because I may have a graduation party for my nephew, but I think I would be able to come for at least a day or two. So I'm gonna do everything I can to make this happen, because it sounds exactly right.
We would love that. Absolutely love it.
Oh, that would be great. I'll bring you guys some runzas, our like kind of it's our state sandwich. So I'll bring a little taste of Nebraska with me if I do come.
All
So I
right.
promised Noelle and Nick that they're very fascinated by the runza pocket sandwich. So I owe it to them. To them. So if anything else, I have to deliver these sandwiches. So. But before I let you go, really quick, we just reiterate some of the details and where people can find more information out about this fantastic Windy City Festival?
Yeah, the best place to go is to windycityparafest.com. There you can take a look and see the wonderful interactive map that Franky put together for us. You can also purchase tickets, look at the lineup and schedule. Of course, it's always subject to change, but as of right now, I think we have it pretty well set. You can take a look at all of the events that are included, and also if you aren't able to join us in person and you want to live stream the event, you can look at live stream options there.
I love that. I love that. That is such a nice, like, because sometimes you're not able to get in person, but it's great. You can still participate, and then, there's always. I love the video conference. I love being there in person more, but like I sometimes can't go to a conference, and I love the video ones. And then you get involved in the chat. You make your popcorn, you have a cold brewski if that's your thing, and it's really pleasant and wonderful, and you still feel connected. So I love that you have that option as well. Yeah, Franky, is there anything you want to say?
I was just going to say, of course, we'd like to see everybody in real life and be able to, have everyone in the same space and having a great time. But we know it's not possible for everyone. So we don't want to have any limits on who can be involved.
I love that.
And don't forget, you've got your own code. Berg.
Yes.
BRG.
Guys, I mean, like, I didn't want to bring it up again, so thank you. Actually, I just held up a sign and say, Franky, bring up the code again. No, but honestly, like, I'm not even joking. Like, it is exciting. It's always fun to have a first, and so I just want you to thank you for bequeathing me my very first promo code. I will wield this power with grace and fairness, and will not, get a big head about it. Although, watch, you guys are going to turn me into a monster on this. I'm Joey promo code now over here, so I'll never get over myself.
If you come out, my goal is to get a couple of drinks in you and hear you sing that song about you. So.
Look, I mean, it'll take about 3 sips of a beer. And you want me to sing? Oh, there's a microphone here. Interesting. Look, it doesn't take, it just, throw a firecracker under me, and I'm a dancing monkey, by nature and by trade. So, sure, I'll perform. It has been such a treat getting to know both of you. I wish you nothing but the greatest of luck in this wonderful, beautiful endeavor. Right now, especially, we need more of these just weekends of positivity and healthy disassociation from the horrors of the world.
Yes.
Because I mean, like, disassociation gets always a negative, like, and in the DSM, it's going to be read as a negative thing, but there's also positive disassociation. I believe that, like, it is important to unplug from doom scrolling and the news and stuff, and just like give yourself some time, give yourself some fun, and you both are providing this for people. So bravo to you. Congrats. I'm so excited. Swear to God, I am going to do everything I can to make it, because 1, it's a quick drive. 2, all my buddies are there, and you both are wonderful, and it sounds just exactly like the kind of weekend I want to participate in. So thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Absolutely. And folks, you're going to find all that information in the show notes. And as always, thank you for listening to another episode of High Strangeness. Enjoy your dinners tonight. Bye, my friends. Say bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Ciao, ciao.